So for those who new to my channel and don't know, I went to a Pvlace workshop in Munich, Germany about like half a year ago. And I did my little, my experience video back then when the workshop was happening. But I never actually, spilled some real sauce I learned in the workshop. It's time for that now, And I'm doing the video on what plugins and what sound banks Pvlace is actually using. In this video, we're only gonna talk about sound banks / VSTs, that produce sound, no effects VSTs or nothing like that. That's gonna be for another video. So subscribe right now and turn on notifications to not miss that video, because that's gonna be another banger too. But yeah, without further ado, I will get straight into the video. So before we get into the real fire, secret, crazy sound banks and VSTs that Pvlace is using, but first we're gonna go through a few Kontakt libraries Pvlace is using. I got this little note right here with all the libraries he showed in the workshop. First of all, we got Spitfire. Everybody knows that Pvlace loves Spitfire very slow. He's using Albion Neo, Wont, and Solstice. Solstice is the newest one of them. Neo is by far my favorite one of them. I especially like the orchestra section right here. I really like the string B preset. For Albion 1, I also really like the orchestra section, but showing off all these banks will completely go beyond the scope of this video, so I would just suggest you to look up these banks, look up sound examples. All these banks are huge, so they are like 50 gigabytes plus, but it's definitely worth. They got a lot of good sounds in them, ranging from orchestral sounds to pads and very interesting ambient accent type of sounds. So for flutes, Pvlace suggested the Andy Fenton kickback flutes from Spitfire again. There's a volume 1, volume 2, and a volume 3 he said he's using, although it isn't out yet. I only have the volume 1. He specifically said for the volume 1 he's using the Chinese bamboo flute the most, so. Kinetic Toys, I obviously don't really gotta talk about this one. Everybody knows Kinetic Toys. Pvlace said he's using it a lot. It's either a hit or miss for him. Definitely a very cool library, although kinda overused. And for the last two Kontakt banks Pvlace is using, we got Oliver Arnold's Chamber Evolutions and Stratus, the other one is called. But how Pvlace actually used his library is he went and clicked on this randomizer thing. So up here you can randomize anything, and that's how Pvlace uses it. So he basically just randomizes it until he finds some fire. So this kind of sounds cool. And you can actually randomize specific values too. So. And yeah, Stratus is just another one he said he's using, but I don't think he actually used it in the workshop, but he just suggested it. So yeah, that's it for the Kontakt libraries. So now it's finally time to get into some real sauce. These VSTs that I'm about to show y'all definitely gonna blow your minds. So everybody who knows Pvlace knows that he loves Spitfire libraries. But everyone knows too that Spitfire libraries are hella expensive. They cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And second of all, they take up hundreds and hundreds of gigabytes of. But what if I tell y'all that Spitfire has a line of $30 plugins? No banks, no Kontakt banks, actual VSTs, plugins that they selling on their website, which have sounds in them that are great alternative to the big Kontakt Spitfire banks. Pvlace only suggested these plugins on the side, but if you look into his placement FLPs, he actually used this specific plugin. This one is called Darkstar Haunted House. If we go into his Avalon FLP, we see the plugin right here. He used the preset Ghost in Year Lappy. All these little VSTs that Spitfire is selling got around 40-50 presets, and this one in specific got very dark sounding, kind of ambient pad key sounds. Now the other one I got is Oliver Patrice Reader. It's kind of like a ambient piano library. And although I'm not having 100% proof that Pvlace is actually using this VST, Gumbo used to use it a lot in his streams. And since Gumbo and Pvlace pretty much work on every melody together, you know, I'm almost certain that Pvlace is using this too. And like I said, this got around 40 to 50 presets again. For $30, you can definitely do nothing wrong with this plugin, so yeah. Another VST Pvlace showed in the workshop and strongly recommended is Cube by Lunacy Audio. And this is a VST nobody, like I'm talking about literally nobody knew there.
And I feel like nobody just knows in general.
And although Pvlace spoke very highly about this plugin, I personally think that it is not worth it. But we still finna check it out. The reason he really liked this plugin is because of the interface. You know, I ain't gonna lie, the interface is very clean. And we got this weird little thing in the middle that is moving around, you know, Pvlace said that gives him the inspiration. And just in general, he was talking about how new sounds inspire him, you know, so he's always downloading new sounds, always getting new sounds. Besides this plugin, you know, Pvlace was really trying to say that you should always look for new sounds and then force yourself to use those.
Ich hole die Inspiration her mit neuen Sounds. Und neue Sounds ist gleich neue Inspiration. Neue Sounds downloaden und euch zu zwingen, die zu benutzen. Auch wenn du eine Lieblingsbell hast und da ist eine Bell drin, benutzt lieber die von deinem neuen Programm.
But yeah, let's just check the plugin out. Before we come into the ultra sauce and my favorite sound bank since I started producing, we just gonna go through a few arcade libraries Pvlace is using. The first one I got is Distant Voices, and although Pvlace didn't specifically use it or mention it in the workshop, if we go into his Sleddy FLP right here, he used Darkness Inside on the melody. And another arcade library which Pvlace specifically suggested and also used in the workshop is actually a pretty overlooked library. You know, nowadays there's so many libraries in arcade, it's kind of crazy. And it's Field of Sounds, which is a library that just got a bunch of ambient background noises. But now it's finally time to talk about the ultimate song, the craziest sound library there is for me. After I started using this library, I fell in love with it. Like, there are pretty much no bad presets, and all the presets just already come with texture. They already come with like a vintage tone to it.
They're already kind of come like pretty effective.
And surprisingly, these are sound banks that nearly nobody knows about, although they're in Omnisphere. They not come with Omnisphere, you gotta buy them, but they work in Omnisphere and come with their own effects, their own parameters to tweak. The two Pvlace was talking about is the Undercurrent and the Unclean Machine. But he was especially suggesting this Unclean Machine library. He even said something along those lines of, you know, if you got $300 in your bank account right now and this library costs $250, buy it. It's worth it. Like, and when I heard that, I was like, at the workshop, I didn't really realize how good this sound bank actually is. Like, it's truly insane. I'm gonna just play out some examples. Like, it's really insane. Like, I'm really putting y'all on some shit with this. Like, I don't know how nobody is using these extensions. Like,
It's like on this big football over like I know.
yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. I spilled some major sauce today. Like, I feel like I've never spilled that much sauce in any video before, so Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if y'all found one new VST or soundbank. Make sure to check out my kits. First link in the description. Let me know if y'all want the Pvlace video where I talk about, you know, what effects, plugins he's using. And I'm also planning to make a video on like tips and tricks Pvlace gave when it comes to, you know, making melodies. So if y'all want that, let me know too. Shit, I'm out.